This is Gardy with Clear Life. We're coming up on the end of the year. I'm excited for 2023, but first, I wanted to do a quick recap of the top 5 podcasts of 2022. At number 5, we have Sammy the Bull Mongonia. I had the opportunity to talk to Sammy a couple times, meet him in person, and then do the podcast as well. He had a very successful year, and we're going to take a quick look at some of the words he had to say.
We're still on a contract, obviously. So we're just going to keep riding it out as long as we can. We're adding more classes. We have classes pretty much 7 days a week at the gym. So some of the gym, we have open gym basically on Sundays. So the gym is open 7 days a week. You can get work in. We also have other coaches do private lessons. My pad holders from my fight camps are there. So we're feeling the dream, man. We really are. We really are over there.
At number 4, we have Rebecca Madison Hughes. Since then, she's gotten married, has a new last name. We had the opportunity to talk before Submissions on the Shore that happened earlier this year, and I got to meet her and her fiance at the time, now her husband. Here's a couple words that she had to say.
I went off to college, did something else, art related, and eventually kind of fell into psychology, and that's where I met someone who got me into jiu-jitsu. So it's kind of it's not something like, oh, I knew about jiu-jitsu and I wanted to do it. It's like I heard about jiu-jitsu. A few months later, I was doing it. And a few months later, I was going to the, Worlds in Long Beach. It was like a pretty small amount of time that I escalated quite extremely.
At number 3, we got Raymond Cardenas. He trains at Active Jiu-Jitsu, a Metro Fight Club. I know he has a fight coming up. Here's a couple words that he had to say this year.
So with the last fight, I kind of did that, visioned everything out. And at the end of the fight, they were going to give me the interview. I was so emotional. It was the first fight my father wasn't able to attend. And I completely blanked. And I was like, I'm trying not to cry. So I was like, I bombed that interview. They're probably not going to interview me with fury. They think I'm weird or awkward or something.
At number 2, we have Charles Badboy Baylor. I had the opportunity to talk to Charles Baylor before boxing with Termite, and he won. It was a great fight. He also had a face-off with my coworker Kurt, and y'all are going to get a beautiful view of this right now on the screen. Let's hear some of the words that he had to say.
After a certain point, I just don't care and I will let go. But for the first 5 minutes of the situation, I'm not trying to fight. I'm like trying to de-escalate the situation. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, I guess I just got that look. Everyone was always trying to fight me too, and I don't know, man. It just is what it is, I guess. Like I was just meant for this.
And the number 1 podcast of the year, the most listened to Clear Life Combat podcast. The guest was Roberto Jiminez. We had a great conversation. We talked about all kinds of things. I really want to get him back on. He's traveling and been staying very busy, but it was a great time talking to him. He was talking about mindset and a bunch of other things.
And it's the same. Once I was in Brazil, I realized that there's a lot of people from all over South America in Brazil because of jiu-jitsu, learning the culture and learning the language and learning the art coming from Brazil. But at the end of the day, it really depends on like who I'm surrounded with. And that can be anywhere in the world as long as it's like good people. And I know it's people that are genuinely like, they're interested in just not interested for ulterior reasons or intentions. They're genuinely there like, oh, I've been in your shoes. I've been like alone in a different country, and that's the cool part about jiu-jitsu, that you get to meet a lot of genuine people.
So those were the top listened to podcasts for Clear Life Combat of the year. We ended up with about 60 something podcasts, and we really had to slow down around March due to some unforeseen circumstances. Also, we got robbed this year and lost pretty much all of our gear, so we had to kind of start over and figure some things out. But we're excited for 2023, put all that stuff behind us and keep rocking and rolling, picking up steam. So here's a couple of podcast guests that stick out to me that I remember, and some of my personal favorites. We're going to get into these right now. Taylor Glick, she competed at Submissions on the Shore, followed her on Instagram, and been able to see her compete all around the country. Here's some of the things that she had to say.
Yeah, I definitely know I'll love super fights more. It's similar to MMA. I mean, like, I won't be as nervous. That's kind of one of the reasons I stopped MMA too, was just like, it was too nerve-wracking for me, and I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think jiu-jitsu allows that for me. Like, I can still be nervous, but at the end of the day, I'm just having fun. So
another one of my favorite interviews was Madison Guinn. She trains at a war training center. She's also gotten into commentary recently. She does some for combat sports coverage. I'm hoping in the future maybe she'll do some of the things with us. Actually, Thomas with combat sports coverage, I talk to him whenever I can. He's busy and I like to bounce ideas off of him. But we were talking about commentators, and after having an interview with Madison, I was like, dude, Madison has really good energy. Dude, I think she would be great at commentary. And I know that whatever happened, they worked it out, and now she's on all of those on Flow Grappling. They're rocking and rolling. Here's what Madison had to say.
Good things don't come easy, and that if you want to do a hard sport and be known and get all the glory for doing a hard sport, you got to do a hard sport and you got to put in the work. And wrestling it's a mindset of go, 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 go. There's no stop. There's no take a breath and rest. It's I take them down, I flatten them out, I put them to their back, I pin them. It's no, I'm gonna sit in their guard and like try to pass the legs and like maybe do the, like there's no chilling in wrestling.
Another one of my favorite interviews, and I've had the opportunity to talk to him multiple times and bump into him in person. I think he's just a really good guy. I see the dedication that he puts into his fighters and the dedication he puts into the business. That would be Coach Copley out of War Training Center, another one of the gorillas, one of the coaches of Madison Guinn. But War is putting out some great athletes, and I really love Coach Copley because he always makes time. And I ask him, from time to time, like, hey, who do you got? Who do you got? And he'll send me some fighters. These guys, these girls, they have some really cool things coming up. Here's the people you need to be on the lookout for, and I appreciate him. Here's some of the words that he had to say.
Kickboxing classes, boxing kids, jiu-jitsu kids, wrestling. My kids do the wrestling and jiu-jitsu there. There's striking for kids. They have MMA sparring and stuff for the kids even sometimes. It's really cool. They have workout classes, wrestling classes, high school wrestling team, middle school wrestling team. It's a well-rounded gym. They have something for the entire family, and there are a ton of families up there that I've gotten to know and meet from basically my kids being in the same classes as their kids. But yeah, I mean, anyone can join in on that, and I think everyone should. I think being in any type of combat gym for an extended period of time will do wonders for your personality and make you have some humility in life.
Another one of my favorite interviews would have to be Lucas Rosa. He's out in Florida, originally from, I think, the Northeast, but he is an undefeated fighter. He fights for Rise out there in Florida. Whenever we had this conversation, we were talking about MMA, his combat, his background, and how he got into it, right? But if I remember correctly, he went to school for philosophy. And so we were just talking about all this stuff. And in the middle of these conversations, my mind was just like blowing, and I was trying to keep up with what he was saying. And I realized that he was just way too smart for me, and I just needed to try and kind of roll with the punches and just try and keep up. But it was a very cool conversation. That was one of my favorite ones, and it is very memorable. Here's some of the things that he had to share.
Like your heart and your mind, and I think it's really important for people to understand that, whether it is even just MMA or another passion, that a lot goes into these kind of sports and these kind of disciplines more than they might understand. And it's kind of that. It's about challenging their presuppositions to what is defined as something that's like brawling or low class, and something that's defined as, a real intellectual pursuit, because that's kind of what I view MMA as. So in terms of MMA, that's what I want my mark to be. And of course, I want to be champion more than anything. I'm so competitive.
One of my favorite interviews of 2022 would have to belong to White Belt Dan, the White Belt Dan. He's an employee out at Hyperfly. If you follow Hyperfly, and I like Hyperfly, I have some of their gear, and I really enjoy some of the things that they put out. They do these collabs with like sports teams. I'm a big basketball fan. That was one of my first loves. And they do these collaborations with NBA teams. White Belt Dan, we had a really cool moment. It kind of caught me off guard because the way our studio was set up, but check it out. It was at least funny to me.
It's a little high in here.
All right, so check out that hoodie if you're watching on social media. Then you've got, oh man, there you go. So you are always ready, it appears.
I'm always ready.
And the belt is ready to go. And this is my last memorable moment, and this is kind of cheating because it actually happened not this year, but it happened last December. Clear Life Combat's only been around for 1 year exactly now. But my first interview and it was through Zoom with Cristian Guzman, as he was about to be the first jiu-jitsu match to ever take place in the UFC Apex. So he was in the hotel. Shout out to Cristian. Shout out to his brother Gio on Space City Collective. Make sure you check them out. Most of y'all probably know who they are, have been to the shop. They are big sponsors of local combat sports with Fury, and they've been doing some really big things. But Cristian Guzman was my first Clear Life Combat specific interview. Before his match at the Apex, he actually made time for me at the hotel, which I really appreciate. He's just a good guy, and check out what he had to say.
I'm super happy to be a part of it, and I usually, like, it's weird because, like, when I compete for super fights, I'm usually like towards the end, like I'm like in the middle, and I'm actually opening the show. I'm the first walkout, so that's pretty cool. I think in itself, being the first jiu-jitsu guy to step on that mat, it's gonna be a cool experience.
Thank you guys for checking out the videos. Thank you guys for supporting Clear Life and Clear Life Combat. We're here for you. We want to spotlight you. If you have something going on, we want to know about it. We love combat sports and everything else. So make sure you check out Clear Life. We're excited for 2023, and we'll see you there.